The Mercedes shot forward like a bullet, Dale and Mason scrambling to their cruiser. Dale's hands shook as he gripped the wheel, watching Maya's taillights cut through the darkness ahead. The black SUV was a distant shadow now, maybe a quarter-mile up the highway. "Stay back," Mason whispered, reading the distance. She said 50 yards. Dale's knuckles went white on the steering wheel. I know what she said. But his mind was racing somewhere else entirely. This wasn't supposed to happen. A simple traffic stop, a chance to remind someone of their place, and now he was chasing domestic terrorists with an FBI agent who had every reason to let him hang. His career was over. He knew it. Maya Richardson knew it. The only question was how bad it would get. "Unit 12, what's your status?" The radio crackled. It was Chief Bradley Sutton. Dale's boss, his mentor, the man who'd taught him everything about being a cop in rural Georgia. Dale reached for the radio, but Maya's voice cut through on the same channel first. "Chief Sutton, this is FBI Special Agent Maya Richardson. Your officers are assisting me in pursuit of federal suspects. Maintain radio silence unless absolutely necessary." A pause. Then Chief Sutton's voice came back, slow and measured. "FBI. Dale, what the hell is going on out there?" Dale grabbed the mic. "Chief, there was a traffic stop and I asked Agent Richardson to maintain silence," Maya's voice interrupted, ice cold. "That includes your officers, Chief." Another pause. Longer this time. When Sutton spoke again, his tone had shifted, harder, defensive. "With all due respect, Agent, this is my county. These are my officers. I'd appreciate knowing what situation they're walking into." Maya's response was surgical. "Your officers racially profiled and illegally detained a federal agent during an active counterterrorism operation. Right now, they're helping me fix their mistake. We'll discuss the rest later." The silence on the radio was deafening. Mason shot a look at Dale, his face gray. "Oh God, the chief knows." "Shut up," Dale hissed. But his foot eased off the gas slightly, his whole body tensing. Ahead, Maya's brake lights flashed once. Twice. The SUV was slowing down, taking an exit ramp toward a rest stop. Maya's voice came through calm and clear. "They're stopping. Hutchins, Reed, pull into the rest area but stay in your vehicle. Do not approach. Do not exit. Watch and wait for my signal." Dale followed her off the exit, his heart hammering. The rest stop was old, barely lit, just a concrete building with bathrooms and a couple vending machines. 2 semi-trucks sat in the far corner, drivers probably sleeping. The black SUV pulled into a spot near the building. Maya parked 3 spaces away, her Mercedes angled for a quick exit. Dale pulled the cruiser in behind her, killing the lights. "What's she doing?" Mason whispered. Through the windshield, they watched Maya step out of her car. No vest visible now, she'd covered it with her blazer. No weapon showing. She walked toward the SUV like she was just another tired traveler stopping for a bathroom break. The SUV's driver door opened. A white man in his 40s stepped out, wearing jeans and a flannel shirt. He looked normal, tired. He stretched, yawned, and headed toward the bathroom building. Maya followed about 10 seconds later, her movements casual, unhurried. "Should we back her up?" Mason reached for his door handle. Dale grabbed his arm. She said stay put. "But she's alone she's FBI counterterrorism, rookie. She knows what she's doing." Dale's eyes never left the building entrance. "We move when she tells us to move." 2 minutes passed. 3. The tension in the cruiser was thick enough to cut. Then the bathroom door opened. The man in flannel walked out, and Maya was right behind him. Walking, talking. He was laughing at something she'd said. "What the?" Mason leaned forward. They walked toward the SUV together. The man opened the driver's door, said something to Maya, smiled, and got in. Started the engine. Maya waved goodbye like an old friend. Turned and walked back toward her Mercedes. The SUV pulled out of the rest stop and merged back onto the highway. Heading south, toward Macon. Dale grabbed his radio. "Agent Richardson, the suspect is leaving. We should." Maya's voice cut in, sharp. "Follow him. Maintain distance. Do not engage. But you just let him." "I said follow him, Officer Hutchins. Or are we back to you not following orders?" Dale's jaw clenched, but he pulled out, keeping the SUV's taillights in view. Mason stared at him. "Dale, what is she doing?" She talked to him and let him go." That doesn't make sense." "Nothing about tonight makes sense," Dale muttered. They drove in silence for 10 miles. 15. The SUV maintained a steady speed, not running, not suspicious. Just driving. Then Maya's voice came through again. Chief Sutton, are you still monitoring this channel? A pause. Then, I'm here, Agent Richardson. Good. I need you to meet us at the Macon Federal Courthouse. Main entrance. 30 minutes. The courthouse. Agent, it's almost 1 in the morning. What? 30 minutes, Chief. Be there. Her tone left no room for argument. 25 minutes later, they pulled into the courthouse parking lot. The building loomed above them, concrete and glass, American flags hanging limp in the still night air. The black SUV was already there, parked near the entrance. Empty. Maya stood beside it, her phone pressed to her ear, speaking in low, clipped tones. Dale and Mason exited their cruiser slowly, hands instinctively near their weapons. A black sedan pulled up. Chief Bradley Sutton stepped out. He was a big man, mid-50s, with gray hair and the kind of face that had seen too much and forgotten how to smile. He wore his uniform even at this hour, always the professional. Agent Richardson. His voice was measured, careful. Mind telling me what we're doing at a federal courthouse in the middle of the night? Maya ended her call and turned to face him. We're here because the threat was real, Chief. Domestic terrorists planning to bomb this building. Thanks to a tip from an informant and some quick work. She gestured to the empty SUV. We just arrested 3 suspects without firing a single shot. Sutton's eyes narrowed. Arrested? Where are they? Federal custody. Taken in through a side entrance 5 minutes ago. Maya crossed her arms. My team handled it. Your team. Sutton looked around the empty parking lot. I don't see any team, Agent Richardson. They're not here for you to see, Chief. Maya's voice dropped lower. But they did see something interesting tonight. They saw 2 of your officers conduct an illegal traffic stop. Racial profiling, unlawful search, threats, and, she paused, letting the weight build. They recorded all of it. Dale felt the ground shift beneath his feet. Recorded. Maya pulled out her phone, tapping the screen. Body cameras aren't the only way to capture evidence, Officer Hutchins. FBI surveillance is a bit more sophisticated. She turned the screen toward them. There it was. Crystal clear footage from multiple angles. Dale grabbing Maya. His voice saying, you people always think you're special. His hands patting her down too aggressively. Every ugly second preserved forever. Mason made a sound like he'd been punched in the gut. Chief Sutton's face went stone. Agent Richardson, I understand my officers made mistakes tonight. But, mistakes? Maya's voice cracked like a whip. Chief, your officer told me that on an empty road, I was nobody. He put his hands on me. He violated my constitutional rights. That's not a mistake. That's a pattern. Now wait just how many others, Chief? Maya stepped toward him. How many other black drivers has Officer Hutchins pulled over for nothing? How many has he searched without cause? How many has he threatened? Her eyes bore into Sutton's. And how many times have you looked the other way? Sutton's jaw tightened. I run a clean department, Agent. If Dale crossed a line tonight, we'll handle it internally through proper. Internally. Maya laughed, sharp and bitter. Of course. Just like you've handled everything else internally. That's why civil rights complaints keep getting filed against your department. That's why the DOJ has your county on a watch list. She tilted her head. Did you think we didn't know, Chief? The silence was crushing. Sutton's eyes went cold. Hard. You're making accusations you can't prove. Can't I? Maya pulled out a folder from her car. Thick. Heavy. She dropped it on the hood of the SUV with a slap. 3 years of complaints against your department. 72 incidents of racial profiling. 41 illegal searches. And every single one. She opened the folder, showing page after page. Swept under the rug. Buried. Forgotten. Sutton didn't move. Didn't reach for the folder. Those cases were investigated and found to be without merit. By you. Maya's voice was steel. Investigated by the same department accused of the violations. That's not justice, Chief. That's a cover-up. Dale felt sick. He'd known the chief protected them, but seeing it laid out like this, black and white, undeniable. Agent Richardson, Sutton's voice dropped to a growl, you're out of line. You're in my county, making accusations against my department, based on selective evidence and your county. Maya's eyes flashed. Chief Sutton, this is United States soil. These are American citizens whose rights you swore to protect. It stopped being just yours the moment you decided the law didn't apply to you. Sutton took a step forward, his size meant to intimidate. Listen carefully, Agent. I've been wearing this badge for 30 years. I know how things work out here. I know how to keep order. And I know that sometimes. He leaned in closer. The law needs to be flexible. It needs to bend for the reality on the ground. That's not corruption. That's experience. Maya didn't back down an inch. The law isn't flexible, Chief. The law isn't for you to bend. The law is the law. Says who? Sutton's voice rose. Some federal agent who swoops in here thinking she understands how we operate. Thinking she can judge us from her ivory tower. Says the Constitution. Maya's voice went quiet. Dangerous quiet. And it's not my judgment you need to worry about, Chief. Behind them, footsteps echoed across the parking lot. They all turned. A black man in his 60s walked toward them, wearing a simple suit despite the late hour. His hair was gray at the temples, his face lined with years of carrying weight most people couldn't imagine. He moved with purpose, with authority that needed no uniform or badge. Chief Sutton's face went pale. Judge Monroe. Federal Judge Harold Monroe stopped a few feet away, his eyes taking in the scene. The folder on the hood. The officers looking like they wanted to disappear. The chief standing there with guilt written all over his face. Chief Sutton, Judge Monroe's voice was deep, resonant. Agent Richardson contacted my office 2 hours ago with some very disturbing information. He glanced at the folder. I've been reviewing the evidence. All of it. Sutton found his voice, but it cracked. Your Honor, there's been a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding. Judge Monroe picked up the folder, flipping through pages with practiced ease. 72 complaints. 41 illegal searches. Years of civil rights violations. He looked up, his eyes cutting through Sutton like a blade. Which part am I misunderstanding, Chief? Those cases were handled according to protocol. Internal investigations found. Internal investigations. Judge Monroe closed the folder with a snap. You investigated yourself and found yourself innocent. How convenient. Mason was shaking now. Dale wanted to run, to disappear, but his feet were frozen to the pavement. Judge Monroe turned his attention to them. Officers Hutchins and Reed. I've watched the surveillance footage from tonight. I've seen what you did to Agent Richardson. His voice dropped lower. I've seen what you've become. Dale's mouth was dry. Your Honor, we were just following orders. Judge Monroe's eyebrow raised. That defense didn't work at Nuremberg, officer. It won't work here. The judge turned back to Chief Sutton. Do you know what tonight was really about, Chief? Sutton said nothing. Tonight was a test, Judge Monroe continued. The FBI has been building a case against your department for 6 months. Tonight, Agent Richardson was sent through your county specifically to see what would happen. Would she be treated like any other citizen? Or would she be profiled, harassed, and threatened? He let that sink in. You failed that test, Chief. Spectacularly. Sutton's face twisted. Anger replacing fear. This was a setup. You people set us up. We gave you a chance to do the right thing, Maya said quietly. You chose wrong. The right thing. Sutton's voice rose, cracking. You don't understand what it's like out here. You don't understand the threats we face, the split-second decisions, I understand perfectly, Judge Monroe interrupted. I grew up in this county, Chief. Before the Civil Rights Act. Before black children could go to the same schools as white children. Before a black man like me could become a federal judge. His voice hardened. I understand exactly what it's like out here. Which is why I will not tolerate it continuing. Sutton's hands balled into fists. You can't do this. I have rights. I have protections. The law.